Capitol Report. Pat McGuigan is here, and today, Pat, we're talking about DHS, the Department of Human Services. There's a new Pinnacle Plan. It has quite a hefty price tag, $100 million a year. Talk about how Governor Fallin and the legislative people have responded to this.
They've responded positively. I mean, it is going to be a big ticket item, and I'm certainly going to keep an eye on it. Governor Fallin was supportive throughout the process of the construction, if you will, of the Pinnacle Plan flowing out of litigation. And Speaker Steele and President Pro Tem Bingman, as well as some key players in the legislative process, Representative Nelson of Oklahoma City and Representative Morissette, South Oklahoma City, both are supportive of the general direction this is going to take. And the plan itself is not a source of controversy. Okay, is this the final plan, or will there be some changes as this continues to move forward? That's it. The way I've been putting it is, in layman's terms, it's the final plan or it's the final plan sort of, and here's what I mean by that. Still to be determined to the satisfaction of the three arbiters overseeing the process to fulfill the agreement made after the litigation by Children's Rights Group, is the performance benchmarks. In other words, defining what success will be and how to change the internal structure of the agency, actually carrying that out and then defining what success will be out there in the future, and then the steps that have to be taken to get there. That's still to emerge. So to refer to it just as the final plan is a little bit, might be a little bit confusing. So there's still more to come. Okay, so what are the one or two big changes we're going to see because of this plan? Well, you referenced the most important one. There will be a steady ramp up in state and federal spending on DHS here in Oklahoma. By 2018, it will reach a level that will be an additional $100 million a year. That goes into a lot of things, probably the main drivers being personnel. There's going to be 100 new social caseworkers, social welfare caseworkers hired quickly, and then another 100 in the second and third years of what I should have mentioned. This is a 5-year plan, and they're trying to front load those hires. There's other changes, including higher reimbursement rates and rates for foster parents, that kind of thing. It's a $2.1 billion budget that we have at DHS. It's one of the largest state agencies. Most of that is federal money through matching mechanisms, but that's a lot of money. And $100 million on top of that is a lot more money. And so it's going to bear watching. I don't impute any ill will to anybody. I think that this is an honest effort to make things better. Okay, now we're going to move on to MAPS 3. There's been some cleanup going on in central Oklahoma City and the core to shore part of MAPS 3. Talk about some big news that happened this week. Yeah, you know, everybody's concentrating on the boulevard controversy, you know, the ground level versus part of it being elevated, and that certainly needs to be discussed. But this is a very important kickoff. Out of the $777 million that are going to be spent on MAPS 3, $132 million of it will go into the park. And this week, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, which is not always the most popular agency in Oklahoma at the federal level, but they announced a $350,000 grant to Oklahoma City, and that's going to be used to investigate pretty thoroughly the north end, especially to start with, of that park that's going to be right in the middle of the city. The reason that's important is it's what's called a brownfield grant. Well, here's what that means. It's assumed to be lightly polluted. Okay. You know, there were gas stations, small industrial concerns, as well as residential areas. And so they're going to first figure out how much of a problem there is. Eventually there will probably be millions of dollars spent in what's called remediation. Wow. Or improving the land, bringing it back to better quality, and then building the park. Okay. So it's a big deal. And what do you see happening next with this? What I see next is that process, and you're going to start to see the money roll out. Now this is the tax lasts from 2010 to 2017, and there's another 2 or 3 years after that, just like the other MAPS projects. before that's completed. So that is at the front end of spending a lot of money to make that park area nice.
Okay, and is there any controversy, or is it moving pretty smoothly at this point?
It's moving pretty smoothly. There is still some landowners that don't want to sell the land for the offered price, and so you may see some tension in eminent domain proceedings before this is all completed, and those property owners are entitled to make their case.
All right. Good information for us. Thank you, Pat. That's our Capitol Report. Have a great weekend, folks.